we're on episode number 10 with Earth and Spirit Medicine, Ancient Healing Wisdom. So, all of this that I do, the way that I live, everything, it's just been something that has taken place over a lot of years. I didn't know where it was all going. I had no clue. I always had a feeling about some things from the time I was a child. And I had a lot of experiences, spiritual experiences, unusual spiritual experiences that helped me understand there was an invisible opposing force, if you will. And so then being taught by others and influenced by others. And did I listen? Did I learn? Did I like what they were saying? These adults, these teachers, these people who thought they knew what was best for me. And then oftentimes through my life at different ages, reviewing my life, reviewing again. What did it mean when my coach in gymnastics said, point your toes, when I was already pointing them? So that day I said, I am. I usually didn't say a word. That day I did. I said, I am. And he said, no, point them harder. I thought, oh, maybe he knows something I don't. So he said, extend and point harder. So it was almost like, and everything became aligned in my body, in that I was on the parallel bars and I was doing a handstand. And when I just popped into that extension like that, and with my whole focus being on how pointed, how far could I point, it just seemed to bring everything into perspective. It was the strangest thing. It's obviously stuck with me for so many years. So what is self-mastery? What is this thing that I've been striving for? How to make Winfield a better guy? Okay, how do you do that? Do you know the secrets, how to make Winfield a better guy?
No.
Okay, do you have the secrets how to make Alan a better guy?
No, just every day praying to be guided, to do good. That's all I've been doing.
So, mastering things, getting good at something, but with a conscious, focused, and not just conscious and focused, but with a somewhere from the deepest pit of me saying, there's more, I can point more, I can do more. That's a high standard of never being satisfied or never feeling like I've arrived somewhere. It can be disappointing, kind of like my lists in the morning, you know. I have these gigantic lists all the times. And I never, all the time, not plural times, I go after these lists. And it used to be frustrating seeing all the things I didn't get done. But what I started to do is point out the things that I got done. Okay, that day I pointed my toes, I got it done, I learned something, and then I just kept applying that principle. But I started applying it in other areas of my life. Same with when I started doing the wilderness survival later. Everything that I learned, everything was trying to help me find a way, because I had this incessant prayer. I don't know kind of where I got it or why, but it's kind of like, dear God, in the name of Jesus Christ, please help me. Please help me be a tool and an instrument in your hands. Please help me to do good, bring people closer to you and to our Mother Earth. So that prayer of, you know, I was very sincere in this and wanting to be an instrument for some reason. I'm not really sure what that was. It's just that I noticed in my life a lot of people didn't have a lot of what I would call solid direction. and they might with maybe their work, like a functioning alcoholic or something, for example. Somebody that can go to work every day, but what's on the outskirts? So you know that Joey, he's a good guy, says everybody at work, because man, that's where he shines. But go talk to his wife, talk to his children, talk to his mother, okay? Those are the people usually that are going to know the truest, if you have those still in your life like that. But what do we measure ourselves to and with, and where are we good, and where do we leave it and say that's enough? I don't. It's never enough for me, okay? I can always do better. If I screwed up yesterday, I'm going to do better today to do better than I did yesterday. And I'm going to do better today to do better than I did yesterday. And I'm going to do better today. And that always just keeps on going in this way where hopefully, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, that I am finding some sort of incremental growth, this personal growth, this personal development, this becoming a little bit better and a little bit better, a little bit more, a little bit more. Nope, I'm not satisfied with the way that I respond to some of the things that some people might say. I want to have a better response, one that leaves them feeling better and me. So I look at these things, and I have over all these years really self-mastery. I'm just striving to be a better version of me than I was yesterday. And what's so funny is I'm the same little guy I was, when I was 5. I'm not much different, I still like a lot of the same things. I still feel energy about a lot of the same things. I playful. I love to be active, and it's kind of like that. But when you learn to go through your life and, let's say, overcoming things, or surviving things, or I made it through that challenge, I got through another sector, it might feel like that. But I try to celebrate. I try to celebrate all this self-mastery. Now, you might be wondering why I'm going on and on and on and on like this, because you know what? In your next day, starting from here till 24 hours from now, I just want you to be completely thinking about if there's anything in your life. And the way that you'd have to do this is you'd have to get a notepad out, and you'd have to write down, get an alarm, and every 15 minutes, you're going to have to write down what you're doing. Still watching Longmire.
Yeah, every 15 minutes. Wow. Yeah, self-mastery. For me, yeah, it's very true. It is day by day. And some days are rougher than others, I'll put it that way. More challenging. And yeah, for the last few days, it's been really awesome, but yeah, sometimes challenging where, like for me, it was okay, some family interesting stuff happened. Okay, that's interesting. Kind of stayed out of it, but also was slightly involved, like prayers and stuff like that. And I had another dream with my other sister, and I thought, what's going on? So everything felt, fine. So I was like, okay. But it was almost like showing me, I don't know why I'm talking about this, but here I am talking about it. But it was this area of saying, well, if you are the one, therefore lead by example, self-mastery. Lead by example, self-mastery. So that's a big thing to think about if maybe you feel as if you are the one in your family, or you just feel like you are the one in whatever situation that is. Look at self-mastery and write down why you feel like you are the one. And today, interestingly, your brother came to me and reminded me of this bracelet. And a couple days ago, I checked my medicine pouch that I was wearing for a long time, and I forgot I put it in there. And today he reminded me, he's like, oh, it was like a bracelet of dedication, commitment. was what was reminded to me, and was like, hey, wear that. Start wearing it. I was like, okay, got it, thanks. And kind of told me, hey, good job on always staying true, like staying true on the path. You know, good job. And then that was it. But then I wasn't expecting to have such a sacred experience with my Aunt Henrietta. I've never felt what I saw, what I experienced. I never felt love like that, ever. But between her and her lover, never, ever, ever. So these experiences, for me, is not giving up. Not just on that situation, but who I strive to be, to lead by example. If I'm going to tell someone to work on self-mastery, I better be working on it myself. And so that's true of everyone out there watching this and wanting to maybe start doing this, is take a look in the mirror first before casting a judgment upon others. And yeah, so that's what I gotta say about that.
That's why I don't ever tell anybody not to cuss.
Yeah.
When I look at myself in the mirror, I say, you cute little cuss. Okay. So, hey, amen to what Alan just said. Wow, okay. So, first of all, mastery, you know, in this quote that I received from Spirit, and we're going to talk more about this, what he was receiving from Spirit there, brother. It's the art. The first statement I received when I was asking, what can I do to be a better person? And Spirit let out this whole paragraph. You can read it. It's in there. Read another podcast. Didn't want to read it today. But the art of being totally accountable. The very first sentence, I was like, okay, maybe I need to back it up here and just make sure. Instead of reading through my power statements, take one sentence at a time, make sure I'm good before I move on to the next one. The art. Okay, what's art to you, Winfield? What does that even mean? The art. And I'm only 2 words into it, and I've stumbled, okay? And so the art. Okay, so what is art? Well, it can be colorful, it can be creative. It doesn't seem to have boundaries, you know. It's with ease, patience, perhaps. What is art, you know? So I would have to start there. So I kind of describe it like that for what I was doing today in that. And the art of being, am I am. Being, I am I am accountable. So the art of being totally accountable. Moment to moment disciplining. Yeah, all in a day. Wow, okay. How many times in a day? My mood changes, my thoughts change, situations, experiences, all day, every day, over and over and over. I set out with that big list to find out that it's going to have a lot of other involvements. And then I try to find out where I can involve myself, like how you took the prayer side, you were saying, okay? And then, so then stick with me. So this whole thing about being accountable, this whole thing about don't ask somebody to do something you're not doing, perhaps. Now, I'm not writing down every 15 minutes every day, no, but I've done it, and I did it for more than a day. It was a college assignment, okay? I was in a class, and I was so intrigued about how much time that I was spending doing so little when I wanted so much, thinking that that wasn't so. The art of being totally accountable. I wasn't spending my time effectively enough to get the results that I wanted, more specifically. The art of being totally accountable. Hey, sorry I said that to you just now. I'm really, really sorry that I said that. I didn't want to say that. What I would rather say is that I care and I want to help. So however we go about this, totally accountable. Okay, so the bracelet. All right, so my brother, Desert Hawk, Wade Banning Ivers, died when he was 17, train auto accident, 2 other cousins, July 1st, 1994. Anyway, a while back, Alan ended up with that bracelet, and he just explained to you how that kind of came back around. Okay, he said something about don't You ask people to do things you're not willing to do. I'm pretty solid that way. Can I do better? Yeah, I can do a lot more. I ask people to do some pretty hard things, wouldn't you say, when it comes to your mentality, your spirituality, and physicality, and emotionality. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's the hardest experience you have had, and not because of me or around me, but since you've known me? And how did you use any of these tools to help you through it?
Oh, yeah, I went right there. That's funny. So it was a moment that I decided I had to evacuate from family. That was the most challenging. And that was a moment when I actually told my dad he had to let me have my wings so I can fly. And his reaction was, yes, but you'd be downstairs, you'd be freaking out about his food not being ready, but it wasn't that. It was me knowing that I was leaving. And at the same time, I remember which you were right to do. I didn't know the direction of filming I wanted to go, so you took a break, so I never felt so alone. And I remember I even because I was so lost, I was like posting my photos but using your knowledge and not even knowing that I was like pretty much taking your words and posting it. And I think it was your nephew or something who called me out on it, and I still never forgot that. So it was that moment of recognizing and stopping and realizing and going into prayer mode and going to Mother Earth, and at the time I was just asking for forgiveness. I didn't know what else to do. I kind of felt like failure and all that, but then knowing that I had to get strong, I had to not give up. I had to stay on that path no matter what, and know that this was just a good learning curve. So grounding myself, and I even had the power statements back then, and I would read them no matter what. I didn't care, and I just continued over and over. So it was that whole moment of when you think you're alone, that how truly you're not. But it was the evacuating out of the home and realizing that I had to do that, and knowing to be patient on the healing to take place over years and years and years, and continue the patience of self-mastery in that area. So that was it.
Wow, thank you. And he mentioned something else a moment ago too about you are the one. So I want to say something about that too, because we're all, if you look at it like this just now, whoever who's listening to this, whoever's watching, whatever, okay, you are the one, okay? What do I mean by that? Well, just feel it, please. Just close your eyes and hear me say that. You are the one, okay? You're the one. You're the one that can make the changes. You're the one that can begin to do something different right now to illustrate through the example way of doing things by uplifting yourself, extending yourself, pointing your toes a little harder, and breaking the cycles, the chains, the shackles, any of those negative things that have been handed down or still being replicated out in family situations that are toxic, that are dis-ease, that are no longer tolerable. You are the one. You're the one that can make the changes. You're the one that can get certain about this. You're the one that can rise above this. And you don't need to expect anything from anyone else except for yourself. And you're going to find yourself alone through it. You're going to find yourself having to go inside and find how you can navigate physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, using your thoughts, words, feelings, and actions. Still trying to have cooperation, honor, respect, and trust. But now with who? Yourself and God in this way, with nothing, no one, just inside. So self-mastery, man, I'll tell you who I've disappointed the most. Me. You know, I'm disappointed. Where I feel bad about disappointing people usually is my children and me. But most importantly, when I feel like I've disappointed this force. But what I realized was that force and I are the same. So that's when I realized I've just been kind of shortchanging myself. The force itself, the life force, this God, it's not like it cares in a way. because of this agency thing. I'm able to act out this falling to the earth and calling out to something that's invisible while I'm grasping hold of this energetic earth, crying, saying, please help me through the most trying situations. And then we find something within us to go, and we make it through it. But we don't want it to be survival. We don't want it to be, I'm just getting through it. What we want to do is get better and better and better and better and better at everything we want to become at. And the best way to do it is to practice it over and 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 over. Because everything that you've been doing up to now has been a practicing. Unconscious, conscious, either way, okay, it's been a practicing. It's a repetition. So what is it that's repeating you don't want anymore? And then replace that and repeat that 1,000 times over. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
So we'll just start with that. Self-mastery is the art of being totally accountable. Get true to yourself. Be straight with yourself. Don't let yourself get away with anything, ever. And don't beat yourself up about it. Just get straight about it and make sure you don't do it again. And then pat yourself on the back for doing good. That's it. Have a great one.